mockery of themselves during the dance sequence.
Mocking
While the
Rajini
movie
Khan.
was whatever it was, the astonishing thing for me was that
Reviews, reaction, satisfaction.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dad's Den. If you are new to this channel, we are the #1 channel in all of YouTube when it comes to reactions and reviews to South Indian content. That includes Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, all of that stuff. So you guys, if you want to be part of this family, come and jump on board. I am just in love with South India. I love the music, the culture, the movies, the food, everything. And you guys are amazing. I love you all. All right, today's video is another Patreon request. Our Patreons are killing it right now. You guys are amazing. If you want to know what a Patreon is, link will be down in the description. Basically, you support me to take your support to the next level, basically. You support me financially. You guys sign up and you guys get to have requests like this. You get to have private conversations with me and just behind the scenes stuff that is happening here at Dad's Den. So if you want to be part of that, go check that out. All right, today's request comes from Divya Paul, and this is Bollywood's South Stereotypes, understanding the obsessive prejudice Bollywood has on South Indians. And this comes from a channel called HITF5. I'll leave a link down in the description to the original video. I don't know what to expect here. I mean, I kind of know what to expect because I know that, you know, back in the day there was a lot of stuff going on like that when it comes to how Bollywood and even Hollywood would talk about South India and the way that they portrayed it. So anyway, let's get into this video. Here we go.
Hello everyone, this is Prashant here. Welcome to HITF5. Today's topic is the ever controversial stereotyping of South Indians in Hindi cinema. For me, stereotyping is a soft form of racism by itself, and Bollywood has done a great job in projecting the literally non-existent stereotypes of South Indians. Now, before I delve into the Bollywood South stereotype, I must also say stereotyping also existed in South cinema, where, for instance, Sardars were shown to be big at heart, hardworking, but not so brainy, the ones you read in Sardar jokes. Then Marwadis used to be shown as mean, money-minded folks. Tamil cinema used to depict a Malayali as a negative character or a tea shop owner, always saying "Ende Guruvayurappa" every 10 minutes. A Malayalam movie used to depict Tamils as negative characters or someone obsessed with MGR or Rajinikanth, or a mean landlord super protective of his daughter. This was all 10-20 years ago, where the exposure to other cultures was quite limited.
Okay, let me pause it just for 1 second. This video is not meant to offend anybody, make anybody upset. And me personally, stereotyping characters and things like that, it can be a form of racism a little bit, but it also can just be pure comedy too. So I'm not a huge hater on using it for comedic reasons if it's in a tasteful manner. But can it be hurtful? Yes. All right, my thoughts. All right, here we go.
Over the years, I must say, at least in southern cinema, stereotyping has reduced quite a bit. In Alaipayude, when Madhavan and Shalini get married, they stay in a home owned by a Malayali, who advises Madhavan about the love life before and after marriage. In Malayalam movie Big B, Pashupati plays a subtle yet impactful assistant commissioner of police, where his performance was critically acclaimed. Then it was Vinay Thandi Varuvaya, and finally Premam, which broke many barriers and bridged many gaps between the cultures. There are so many more examples I can delve into, but the focus of today's topic is Bollywood's stereotyping of South Indians and why I think we cannot expect it to change anytime soon.
One other thought. As he's talking about all this, I'm just thinking, I feel like in South India, like a lot of the actors, singers and stuff, they go from like Telugu movies to Tamil movies to Malayalam movies, like they're doing everything. So clearly that's not existent anymore, I don't think. Anyway, here we go.
Now let's rewind back to 1968. The Madrasi character of the movie Padosan, played by Mahmood, was such a big hit that character represented the entire south of India for Bollywood audience back then. Now Mahmood was playing the role of a Tamil Brahmin called Masterji, who is a creepy Carnatic classical music guru with the surname Pillai. This movie turned out to be a huge hit and was laughed at by the audience within the Bollywood boundaries. Back in the days, even if people in South got offended by such portrayals, they didn't have many outlets to vent out their frustrations. Moreover, there were vibrant film industries back in the days in each of the southern states, and not many cared to watch Hindi cinema. Last I heard, Pillai is a surname common in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, but not a surname for Tamil Brahmins. Well, the factual accuracy didn't matter back then for
Oh,
Bollywood audience, as the cinema totally validated their preconceived notion of a Madrasi. The term that our beloved British colonizers gifted through their Madras presidency that covered many parts of all five states of South. Now, one may wonder, they didn't hurt anybody, right? And just poked a little fun. And why do we really care about it now? Why do we bring it up now? My answer is simple. Back in the days when the workers, professionals, and students used to migrate from south to north, there was extreme racism and discrimination, and the movie Padosan validated that preconceived notion in north, which had very little or no exposure to anything that happened down south. Another damage it did was the utter disregard it created for Carnatic classical music. I myself have seen some
yeah, I
folks
can see
poking
that.
fun at Carnatic classical music performers, as the best ones can get little carried away or little animated with their performance, and that is true for any classical art form, including the Hindustani art form. Now, fast forward 1990, one of the biggest hits of Amitabh Bachchan, Agnipath had Mithun Chakrabarti play a pivotal role called Krishnan Iyer M.A. Nariyal Paniwala. Okay, so this was considered as a top-notch performance by Mithun back in the days. Few years back, I saw him and his fans rave about the performance where he was the judge in a reality show, Dance India Dance. Mithun said that he was inspired by a person from Kerala who was his roommate during his struggling years. For me, it looked like a reincarnation of what Mahmood did, minus the three horizontal vibhutis. It sounded neither like a Malayali nor a Tamilian, but a silly and caricaturish dialect meant to pull the audience who were desperately missing all the Madrasi jokes back then. Now, fast forward many, many years. Om Shanti Om, right? The landmark Bollywood cinema happened in
Is
2007.
Shah Rukh Khan
Average moviegoers back then
or no?
raved about this rubbish movie. This SRK,
Yeah.
Deepika Padukone, and Farah Khan film was all about Ek Chutki Sindoor dialogue of Deepika and the Iana Raskala performance by SRK. For audience who have not seen this movie, the context of the joke here is the American cowboy movie genre also became a rage in India, and hence Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu made a bunch of them back in the days. It was like 30, 40 years back. Now,
Okay.
if you think about it, it all looks ridiculously funny, right? When SRK enacted all this in that movie, he made up his own language to deliver the so called punch dialogues, enacting a South Indian cowboy. I wouldn't blame SRK, as he realized that his fans wouldn't care which language it is. At the end of the day, as long as it sounds like a South Indian or a Madrasi, he knew he made it. I think from this movie onwards, SRK became the flag bearer of Madrasi jokes, and guess what? He tried to sell those movies in South too, which I will come in a bit. Ravan was an extremely ambitious project for SRK. I remember that around this time, the release of Endiran, the Shankar directed one, had given chills to the film crew, as it was extremely superior to what SRK and crew had envisioned for Ravan. What irked me was the role of Shekhar Subramaniam, a nerdish game designer played by SRK himself. This South Indian character had everything you needed for his audience to burst into laughter, starting from saying "Ayyo Ayyo" every now and then, and
But I
eating
love
pasta
Ayo.
or noodles with curd, and repeating the full name of his character multiple times in the movie. One good thing to note was that Kareena Kapoor also played a South Indian character, and the good news was that the makers spared us from Kareena putting up that South Indian accent. Can you imagine? Another irritating experience with the song Chamak Chalo. It not only had dance steps mocking Rajnikant, Kareena's South Indian parent characters were shown doing some mockery of themselves during the dance sequence.
Mocking
While the movie was
Rajinikanth.
whatever it was, the astonishing thing for me was that SRK was marketing it heavily, even in the southern states, claiming that he's playing a South Indian and everyone in South should go and watch it as they can relate to it. That just summarized the understanding that the team Ravan had about South. Now, when SRK and Deepika joined hands again for Chennai Express, directed by remake bot Rohit Shetty, this time it was a fresh subject
I've heard
right
about
from
Chennai
the brains
Express.
of Rohit himself, who himself claims that his cinema is not made for intellectuals. For SRK fans, this movie must have been a roller coaster ride. The Bollywood item song of the year, Lungi Dance, was marketed
Oh,
as
yeah.
a tribute to Rajnikant, which any person with little sense would realize is a way to poke fun at Rajnikant and Tamil audience in general. While there is emphasis on coconut, everyone in South India clearly knows that the state obsessed with coconut in South is Kerala, not Tamil Nadu. Firstly, this movie had nothing to do with Chennai, and the movie makers totally avoided getting there as they knew that it is one of the best cosmopolitan cities in India
That's
with
why Adavana
vibrant
say that
industrial and
lungi
IT
dance
parks
thing.
contributing immensely to India's GDP. Now, while watching this movie, it was clear that the movie is not for a sensible audience, and the only intention is to get those nonsensical audience some instant gratification by presenting everyone in South as caricaturish. They show a banana republic where the goons rule the place. We know the intention of the maker here is to portray Deepika as a Tamilian, but they messed up big time. At times, she wears Andhra style costumes, and at times, Malayali kasava. It was even hard to figure out which accent she was trying to mock, whether it was a Malu accent or a Tamil accent. It was just a
Whoops.
reaffirmation of the fact that the Bollywood is still stuck at the hypothetical Madrasi character which was discovered by Mahmood back in 1968. Now, moving on to Dirty Picture. With no
Dirty picture.
disrespect to Silk Smitha, one would wonder why Bollywood producers chose to pick the story of her while there were so many other inspiring stories of actors and actresses. Yes, you got it right. It fits well with the Madrasi narrative, where Bollywood wants to project South actresses as fat, voluptuous, with thunder thighs, and the actors are generally aged with thick mustaches. Now, likewise, when actor Prithviraj got ripped with six-pack abs to be cast opposite Rani Mukherjee, we all
What's
wondered
time
that it
out? Time
might
out.
break
What's wrong with thick, healthy bodies? Whatever. All
the
right.
mode of a South Indian character. Unfortunately, the cringe-worthy promo song where Rani is shown lusting for Prithvi was good enough for any sensible moviegoer to avoid venturing into it further. This was Rani Mukherjee's attempt to enact and mock some steamy songs in Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada many years back. I'm sure Prithvi was not proud of this role as well. Now, friends, as I end this video, I'm not generalizing Bollywood here. There are extremely sensible directors in Bollywood like Anurag
Well,
Kashyap
I've
who
seen
are
great
very
Bollywood
knowledgeable
movies.
about the sensibilities of each and every state down south as well. Now, there are some like Shujit Sarkar, Sriram Raghavan, Ashutosh Gavarikar, and many more who do enough research before venturing into any region or religion. There are also enough sensible audiences up north who don't like all the Madrasi crap that the Bollywood sells them time and again. Unfortunately, there are many more directors and actors and producers who are repeatedly fooling their audience and minting money by
That's too bad.
inducing stereotypes, prejudice, and racism against many cultures in India and predominantly South. Now, I must say, since the release of Bahubali, I'm seeing that the attitude of Bollywood movie makers has changed quite a bit. I hope one day we can see sensible South Indian characters in Bollywood. Thank you very much, folks.
Okay, so my thoughts on this. Here's my thoughts. Um, anytime I mean, here's the thing. If you're gonna make a movie and you want to portray somebody like, if it's a comedy, it's a comedy. Okay, it's a comedy movie. I have no problem. Comedies, in my mind, in comedians, they're allowed to just have fun. You shouldn't be offended, especially if it's a comedy movie. However, if you're attempting to portray like what real or what it's supposed to be in real life and you don't do your research on that, shame on you. I mean, just do the research. You know what I mean? It would be like me if I'm gonna make a movie about, let's just say, Black history, right? I want to make a movie on Black history, and I don't do all the research, and I don't get the correct names, I don't get the correct language, I don't get the correct terminologies, and all those things right. I failed. I failed as a movie producer, a movie maker, a director. I failed. And so if you're going to do that and it's not a straight up pure comedy film, you messed up. Now, I grew up here in the United States. I can't give you super insight between the Bollywood, South India, and all of that stuff going on. I've heard about it, definitely heard about it from many of you. And for me, it's simple. If the movie's good, I'm going to watch it. That's it. That's it. I just want to be entertained by something good, okay? And something that is quality. I've seen fantastic Bollywood movies, some really good movies. I've seen some fantastic Collywood, Mollywood, Tollywood. I've seen Hollywood movies. I mean, Hollywood has crap, Bollywood has crap, Hollywood has every industry has bad movies, but every industry has great movies. It's all about finding those good ones, right? That's really what it's all about as movie watchers and stuff. We want to find those good ones. So it's too bad that happened. But however, you take the bad with the good. As long as you can learn from the bad history, and turn it into something positive, that's what it's all about. So, and I feel like that's happening. I do. I feel like there's some great films coming out, and I appreciate that. So anyway, thank you for the suggestion. If you want to be, that comes from another Patreon. And if you guys want to be a Patreon, go check that link down below. You guys can suggest videos like this to me, and I will react to them. So anyhow, thank you guys so much. I do appreciate you guys. I love you all, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.